The show. Oh, is my microphone unmuted? Yeah, I think it is. Welcome. It's episode 182, Pro Synth Network live. Bit stretched there, but there you go. Welcome everyone. Hope you've had a fantastic week since we last saw you, or you last saw us, because we don't see you. You could all be sat there naked drinking coffee, and we would have no idea. But welcome anyway to the show. It's a doozy this week. It really is, and I'm a little bit nervous because I've got so many cameras to manage here. So I'll warn you right now, there's going to be some cock-ups, I'm sure. But we'll do our best to get through and hopefully have a fantastic evening with you all, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, or it might be morning. Is it morning somewhere? It could be early morning in Australia, I suppose, on the far. Anyway, I'm rambling. Welcome to the show. My name's Rob Puricelli. I'm your host for the night, along with a few others, which I will bring in just shortly. But before I do, let's just get the boring housekeeping stuff out of the way. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on catch-up, hello. I hope it's good for you, and thanks for coming back to watch us if you couldn't watch us live. I know there's a whole bunch of people that have gone, certainly in the UK, have gone down to Bristronica, which is a big modular thing down there this weekend. So hopefully you'll be able to catch up at some point. But during or after the show, if you haven't already, give us a like, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on how you feel. Leave a comment if you want to comment during the show. You can do so live through YouTube, through Twitch, and through Facebook, which we'll broadcast on all of those platforms, including Twitter as well. We're live on Twitter too, or X, or whatever he wants to call it these days. But you can't comment on there. Well, you can, but we just don't see it in the live show. If you haven't already, do give us a subscribe and hit the bell just to get a reminder of when the shows go out, because every now and again we do shows that aren't regular on Friday. And if you like us and you know somebody else that might, share the link and let them have a look, and hopefully we'll pick up a few more fans that way. So thank you for that. If you want to donate to the show to help keep us on air, because we are completely not for profit and we do this voluntarily, you can do so either using PayPal through our PayPal donation link, and there's a clickable link down below in the descriptions, or you can use the YouTube facilities of super chats, stickers, that kind of stuff. And if you're watching on catch-up, there's a thanks button just about there. Same sort of thing, click that. And you can leave us a shekel or a dime or a dollar or a pound or a cent or whatever it is that you have. Everything is welcome and gratefully appreciated, and it just keeps us on air for a little bit longer. As I said before, we are across all the social media channels. We're on X, we're on Instagram. Facebook is where you'll find our main group, where we all tend to hang out during the week, so do come and join us there. And of course we are on YouTube, which is where we do the show mainly, and where most of you guys and girls are. If you have a question for us or for any of our guests, or just something you want to bring to our attention, just put a big capital Q in front of the comment, and then that way one of us will notice it and throw it into the question bucket, and then we can go back and pull those in as and when is appropriate. And that, my friends, is the end of the housekeeping. I should actually have a little trailer or sting for that, but there we go. Let's bring in who's making all that now. I'll leave him alone for a moment. You haven't seen this guy for a little while, so I'm going to bring him in first. Mr. Ben Simpson, everyone.
Oh, sorry. Hello. All right. Not used to being on it anymore. I'm just used to
I know you're like a special guest in your own right, aren't you?
I know. Yeah, I've not been here for a while. I apologise, but I've been doing lots of gigs up and down the country, and
good
been all over the place, so it's just been gig after gig, and
nice one.
I'm glad to have a night off, really.
Yeah, well, not really. You've got 2 hours, mate.
Yeah,
we've got you for 2 more hours.
This is a bit more chill, isn't it?
But you're all well and everything, yeah?
Yeah, very well.
Good stuff. Right, let's now go across to not quite the West Country, he's not quite the Midlands, he's sort of in between. It's Mr. Andrew Longhurst. Always with the pranks.
What?
Always with the pranks.
What?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. My audio is working. I got a new box from Novation, not Novation. Yeah, Novation Focusrite. They replaced it. Sort of. I love them to pieces. Thank you for taking care of that.
Good. And you got the mood lighting back in as well, I see.
I have, but one of them's died on me. Don't know why. Get that replaced next week.
One day you will have the perfect setup, won't you? Everything will work.
One day. I'll even have some synthesizers. Who knows? It could happen.
Yeah. Are you well?
I'm good. It's been a very good week, very busy, but
Good.
I'm a very happy bunny. My sound is working.
Yes, we all are. Trust me, we all are. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And then finally, as far as our presenters are concerned, let's bring in the one and the only Mr. Mini Moog Fixer Extraordinaire, Mr. Kent Spong.
Good afternoon to you.
How are you?
Oh, mate. Mini Moogs aren't supposed to be that difficult to repair.
You had a smoking Mini Moog this morning.
Yeah, this guy put all the wrong parts in, and he put the wrong values in, things back to front. Oh, what a mess. So,
DIY?
Yeah. But I did get a lovely compliment today. Hans hit me up and says, Lorne Balfe has borrowed that up 2500 system that you restored.
The one that's not nailed to the wall.
The one that's not nailed to the wall in the foyer. And he says, wow, he says, this is the best one I've ever worked on. It's wonderful to use and everything like that.
There you go.
I go, but he wants to be for how much it costs to put that straight. But yes, so it's good. I'm glad to hear that it's all good there as well.
Indeed.
Was it £30 to put it right?
I think, well, I walked away with...
And the Twix.
Very little. Very little. Very little.
That's the Twix. That'll be the Twix.
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Good to see you, mate.
And you.
Welcome along. Right, okay, so we have some special guests, and I'll tell you, this is going to be a challenge for me. I don't think we normally have more than one or two guests. We've got, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 special people, and those special people are all involved with, in some shape or form, with a brilliant company that burst onto the scene a few years ago. I think we should start with their illustrious leader. I think that's probably an appropriate term. He's an expat. He lives out in Florida. He comes from Essex, which is just down the road. And we'll ask him why that is shortly. But first of all, let's all give a big round of applause and a lovely PSN welcome to Mr. Brad Holland.
Yay! Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, Rob?
I like your microphone stand there. That's very classy. So how are we in Florida today? Because it's what your morning, isn't it? It's just gone 11 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10
Oh, no, it's just gone 2.
10 past 2 in the afternoon, yeah. Not too bad. I've been just got over building these prototypes and calmed down a bit, and now I've been panicking all day about coming on here, so...
Oh, don't worry, mate. It's looking good. It's nice to see that sitting behind your little tag there, you've got the new baby in the stable.
There she is,
the Caladan.
Yeah. She's a beauty for sure. Yeah.
And you've literally just got that up and working. Oh, there she is. Look at that.
Yeah.
There we go. Very nice.
My microphone's pushed it off centre now, so it's going to mess with my OCD. That it's straight.
Don't worry about it. It's looking cool.
Anyway, back to me.
Mate,
fix it in
honestly,
post.
we've been trying to get you on for ages, and you've been trying to come on for ages, and we're so glad that you finally have.
Oh, I'm honoured.
No, we're honoured because you've really, I don't like this term, but you have kind of disrupted the market in certain areas with not only your
bad
instruments,
language.
but your bad language, your candour, and your general kind of good fun nature. It's just nice to see someone who really enjoys what they're doing. We will come and speak to you in a bit more detail about Isla Instruments and how it all started and how you started in just a moment. Oh, shut up.
Right.
Oh, not doing that. Not doing that. Brilliant to see you. And you have brought some people along with you. I'm going to start off. Let's see. I'm going to start off with Mickey, I think. Welcome to the show.
Yay!
Mickey.
Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us, what is your role within the Isla Instruments setup?
I guess mainly UI firmware development.
Okay, cool.
But, touches everything. Certainly a little bit of hand in the hardware too. On the S2400, I joined after the hardware was already built.
Okay.
But it's nice to be on these new projects from the very beginning.
And you've been in on Caladan from day one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff. Excellent. Well, again, we'll come back to you shortly and ask you a little bit about your history and ask you some questions. And of course, if you have anything to throw in, please feel free to do so. Now let's go to another one of the developers. I'm hoping I've got that right in the team. And let's welcome Vlad.
Hello.
Hi, Vlad.
Nice background, by the way. Nice background. Like that.
Thank you.
Is that a Korg reissue? Or is that a real thing?
No, that's the TTSH. That's the DIY thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Nice
So
one.
I built it myself.
Wow. Cool stuff.
Wow.
So, what's your role in the whole Isla Instruments setup?
Well, mainly I tell Brad no.
Nice one. I like that.
And I bet that's quite frequent.
Basically, Brad comes up with the most crazy ideas, and then I tell him no. Like Scotty on the Enterprise. I tell him no for a week.
Can it do it, Captain?
Can it do it, Captain?
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm actually south of Frankfurt in Darmstadt.
Okay, lovely. So you're a fellow European. Good to have you here.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, again, we'll come back to you at some point during the show, and we'll get a little bit more about you and your role. The final person that's been brought in from the Isla team, shall we say, is your friend and mine. He's been here before. We love him to death. He's Mr. ASM as far as social media is concerned, and many other things besides. It's the one and the only Ken Flux Pierce.
Oh, man.
How you doing, my friend?
I saw the list of people on here, and I said I don't know where I fit in on there, but I'm definitely down to clown.
Yeah. Well, Brad insisted that we invite you in because I think he just wants some familiar faces around. So, but you're always good value for money. You're always welcome on this show. So
I'm always
good
happy
to see.
to just come on and troll Brad as much as possible.
And you have the coolest camera angle.
Yeah, it's a noble venture for sure. How's everything in your world?
Very busy, but fun. I'm enjoying everything that I've been getting into. I've been doing a lot of in-store events lately, so traveling around the country and kind of doing workshops and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been busy and fun, and I mean we're all here to talk synths, and that's what it's about.
That's what it's all about. Absolutely. Well, so always good to see you, mate. It's something the last time we met was at Superbooth, where he actually pressed flesh for the first time, and my son is
that sounds
grateful.
way dirtier in American.
I know. Yeah. But my son is eternally grateful for his Hydrosynth T-shirt.
Excellent.
And that now I can actually say, look, that T-shirt, mate, that's what's on it. I've got Hydrosynth over there. So yeah,
he's got a Hydrosynth T-shirt.
Yeah, he got a Hydrosynth. I got the Hydrosynth T-shirt, and it didn't fit. As we know, this is the way.
I think those ones were all very small, if I recall. So it's not just because you're getting more girthy. It's because they were.
I was probably a bit of both.
Mine made me look like a samurai warrior.
A what?
Mine made me. Yeah, it just came out like this.
I was trying to make him feel better.
Sorry,
you got one as well.
I am particularly small though, so Yeah.
Sorry, Kent. Yeah, obviously we were at Superbooth, and so was Kent and Ken. So I'm going to get you two mixed up. Next time, when he's there next year, we'll bum a third one off him. So
I bought a 49. I got a deluxe. I was playing Ken's patches last night, and all I got was this.
And all you got was a lousy process.
You went through all that banging, and all I
got is this. That's all I got. God.
Jeez.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh well. Anyway, I think have we missed anyone out? Because I'm really concerned. I think we've said hello to everyone. Let's do the Partridge family here. There we go. We're all up. One more, and we've got Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? We might get somebody jump in unexpectedly. Right, so that's everyone. We're all here to give you guys a good time. We're going to hopefully learn a lot more about Isla Instruments and what they're doing. And then later on in the show, we've got a few news items coming on. Shut that dog up, Kent. Is that Noah?
That's Noah.
That's Noah. Okay. Is that the doorbell? Or has he just been left alone?
That might be because he's been left alone.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. So, like I said, Isla Instruments first half. If we've got some time, we'll do some news topics in the second half. If we don't get to them all, we maybe try and throw them into next week's show because news is a little bit slow. Although saying that, next week I won't be here because I'll be at Synthfest UK getting ready to work the floor over, or up, should I say, in Sheffield. I do, however, before we carry on anywhere else, I want to say hello and big thank you and a welcome to everybody that's in the chat, in particular our moderators. I know that I saw Andrew Brooks in there. I thought he was going to be away this one. Maybe not. So welcome, Andrew Brooks. Synth Addict is in there, and I'm not sure, I haven't seen Ben from the wonderful Musines website, who those three are our lovely moderators. They look after you guys in the chat. They will be posting links up into the chat as we speak about various things. So if you're looking to bookmark anything as we talk about it, feel free to do it there. I can see that we've got a large number of viewers, and I'm guessing a lot of you might be new, so welcome. And if you are new to the show, I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, just click that thumbs up button, give us a subscribe and a like and a bell, and that would be fantastic. And very finally, let's just say thank you to Andrew Brooks for his £5. Thank you very much. Go on then, if I must.
£5.
Oh, round £5.
Wow.
Nobody's messing with my head this week. We got another £5 from Jason Crouch. Where have the decimals gone? Balance has been restored. Indeed.
Does that go to us or to you?
Oh, that all goes to me. How do you think I afford all this?
You can buy me the T-shirt then.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert St. John, who is the director of marketing, I think I've got that job title right, at Cherry Audio. Thank you ever so much. Of course, we'll squeeze in a little bit of news about Cherry Audio because they put something out on YouTube today. So thank you for that, Robert. And to Steve, who goes by the moniker Ixorb in the chat. Tempting to mess with Robbie's head and donate £5 and 3, but I'll save that for another day. Yeah, today's probably not the day to mess with my head and my OCD because that would just hurt. Thank you to all of you people for donating. Thanks to everyone that's donated in the past, especially those who put in regular donations through the PayPal. You don't often get a shout out, so thank you very much to all of you because you are superb, and it's all your fault that we're still here, basically. Oh, here comes another one, and it's from our good friend Dr. Mike Metley. $10 currently bribing you and taking votes to take that 9th spot. Or we might be tempted just to even things up. But thank you ever so much, Mike, and hope to see you soon, indeed. Right, there we go. Let's just bring everything in, and let's first of all, let's just bring up onto the screen this website, because it's the website of the company that we're kind of focusing on today, which is of course Isla Instruments. And there we go, and creating music instruments made with love. The S2400, I guess, is probably the most popular item in the range. It's a small range, but it's expanding. But of course it all kicked off with something else called the KordBot, which is no longer in production, but there is something new on the way. As you can see here, it's now available to pre-order, and we've got some special news. If you are looking to pre-order Caladan, stay tuned to this show, because we might, or should I say, Brad might be able to help you out. So let's, without further ado, let's bring in Brad. Mate, how did this all start? How did Isla Instruments start? What was your kind of route into this whole industry that we call synths?
Honestly, I can't remember really. My kind of, I moved to America I used to be a co-producer for like a pretty big deal of a house producer, okay. And he pretty much retired, and so my job kind of came to an end really, and I'd always been into sort of electronics and the studio stuff and the gear, and there was gear that I always wanted that didn't exist. And sort of when I found myself out of a job, it was either, go to Best Buy or something, or design this idea that I had. And so that's what I did. I had to get a job because I had a baby on the way, Isla. Right. Okay. And so yeah, there I found myself.
So you say you had this idea in your head. Yeah. That was KordBot, was it?
Yeah.
What
we
gave
wanted
you that
something
idea?
next to we always wanted because neither me or Ian Carey were keys players, really any good on the keys. But we can play a bit, but not the chords that we wanted to play. So yeah. we discussed, like, wouldn't it be great to have like a little sort of a calculator next to you that had all of the keys of a keyboard and then all of the chord types next to it, and you could just press it and put it straight into the door, and obviously a fair few people wanted something like that as well. So
did that start off as like a Kickstarter type project?
That's right. Yeah, it was a Kickstarter. And it did pretty well, and then Indiegogo asked me to move on to there with it as well, so I did that and got myself in a lot of trouble.
But it clearly was a success.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was extremely humbled by it, because I was expecting to maybe 100 or so, a couple of hundred people might buy it, and it just sort of blew up. So I was, and so just literally overnight, I just had the weight of the world on my shoulders after that.
Would you ever make it again? Because I know it's out of production, but would you ever consider like doing an update to it?
We totally intend to. Intend to. Yeah, but obviously we got our focus on the Caladan and a couple of other bits at the moment, but we're totally coming back to it and just making it the device that I would liked it to have been in the first place, but didn't necessarily have the minerals to be able to pull it off quite as well as I did back then, you know.
Cool stuff. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, I have to be completely honest. I saw the KordBot here and there, but never really sort of looked into it. It didn't seem to be something that I would be interested in. But what did get my interest was the S2400, which is, to all intents and purposes, your homage to the E-MU SP1200, which is this classic machine. And I just want to know really why, how, and what kind of led you down that path.
I'm a big fan of that sound. I know it was huge in the hip hop community, but I'm from a house background. Just that beautiful, punchy, nasty, frankly a bit crappy sound was all over French house and records from a lot of my favourite artists, people like Kenny Dope, Daft Punk. All of those guys were prolific on that machine, and I just saw a gap in the market. I was like, a lot of the stuff that was sort of pad based and all of those sorts of machines were either really based around a big graphical screen or just had a lot of functions that you're either never going to use or would spend 2 hours figuring out how to get really deep on the machine to use all that stuff. Whereas a machine like the SP1200, which is probably why it was so popular in the first place, is just instantaneous. It's like using a tape deck almost. You're just straight into making music. And I think there wasn't really many machines out there on the market that sort of give you that hands-on, instantaneous feedback and that sparks creativity. So that was the main sort of impetus behind it. I just saw that didn't really exist on the market, and it needed to again. Yeah.
So what did you want to do with it? What made you because obviously the S2400 does pretty much everything that the SP does, but goes way beyond that. Was that always the idea, was to take it and improve it?
If I'm brutally honest, it was to try and the impetus sort of started off as a clone, but with sort of 21st century features. So obviously that's things like larger sample time, media in the form of an SD card and stuff like that. But as the other people on the team will probably attest, I kind of riff a lot and specifications that don't even exist evolve. And so we work. I think the term is agile development, right? So we just sort of started throwing paint at the wall, and it ended up being quite a beautiful painting, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So S2400 has established itself, and some of the comments that are coming through, I've put some up on the screen while you were talking there. People absolutely love this thing. Are you delighted with its success? Are you surprised by its success at all?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised at myself for pulling it off. I'm surprised that it was very deflating at first. Coming off of the back of KordBot, and I've held my hands up before. I made some mistakes there, but still delivered. Apart from the sequencer, okay. I was under a lot of fire at the time, which was a lot of it was quite warranted. And so, I mean, if you look back on threads on Gearspace, as soon as people found out that it was me, because we teased a render of it first, and everyone's like, "This is fake. This is it's Behringer, or it's this, or it's that." And then when people found out it was me, they were like, "Oh, just forget it. It's that guy's a flake. It's not gonna. That thing's never gonna happen." And so then I was even more driven,
Yeah.
And between Vlad, Mickey, and myself, and help with Supal, who's always in the background, but an amazing CAD designer, we pulled it off. And now, if you look at that Gearspace thread, everyone's super supportive of it, and they love it.
Yeah.
Even the people that hated it. So it's a good machine.
Yeah, it is. It's a blinding bit of gear. I mean, it's so well built. I just want to now nip over let's go to Vlad first of all, because you're the guy that says no to Brad a lot. So what sort of things did you say no to Brad about when we were talking about the S2400? Are there things that aren't on there that he really wanted that you just said no, that's absolutely out of the question?
Keep quiet, Vlad.
Yeah, I'm. My NDA probably doesn't allow this.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But for example, Brad wanted to have 16 voices playing at the same time for a long time. And for a long time, I told him, no, we cannot do that at the moment because A, we have so much other stuff to do, and B, we need to optimize the whole thing a bit. And in the end, we optimized it enough so that you now can have the 16 voices. But it wasn't an out-of-the-box feature that Brad wanted to have, and I don't know what, 128 polyphony and all these things. He just keeps throwing numbers at me, and I keep telling him small numbers are good, too.
So what is your kind of principal involvement? Are you working at a code level in terms of the firmware? Do you have any input on the hardware design?
Well, I started as basically just write some code to make this thing play drum samples. So I wrote basically the audio engine of the thing. But it turned out that in the end, I got involved also in the hardware design, in the schematics review, in a lot of planning for example, for the DSP card, for the other stuff. I got involved basically in the whole thing in the end, because the problem is when you're making embedded hardware, there's not really a separation between hardware and software because one depends on the other. You can make a really bad decision in hardware that are going to haunt you in software, and the other way around. So you kind of need a holistic approach to the whole thing.
Sure. We have a number of kind of coding and hardware geeks, also software geeks in our chat room and everything. Could you sort of give us a little bit of an insight on what you're using to develop the firmware? What sort of languages are you using? How do you develop it? Because I'm no expert in that field, so maybe you can just give us a little insight into that and how that works.
It's basically pure C more or less. So I think there's a few lines of C++ maybe, but I think the most is just pure C. Yeah, it's really really quite like we did it in the 80s.
Okay, so it's lightweight and simple.
But it's very efficient, isn't it? C. It's a lot more efficient. Yeah, than a lot of the other stuff that's being used at the moment, right?
It's basically as close to the metal as you can get, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Brilliant. Right. Okay. Let's move across to Mickey. Put Mickey in the spotlight. Right. So tell us a little bit about your involvement with the S2400. What your involvement has been over the last few years.
Yeah. Well, I actually met Brad a few years before that during the KordBot development. I had heard from a third party that he was looking for someone who knew KiCad and could fix their circuit board, which was had some issues. So I didn't know KiCad, but I knew I could learn it. I just told him I knew it.
That's a great blag. Absolutely.
Yeah, I did. So I fixed that. And then a few years later, he comes and says, "Hey, I got this 2400 project, and would you want to do the sequencer for it?" And it's so obviously it's more than just the sequencer; it's the entire UI that I ended up doing.
Yeah.
So he shipped me his 1200 and prototype 2400, and I said, "And the spec?" He said, "Just make it do what the 1200 does."
Okay. Easy.
Yeah, that's what he told me too.
Yeah. I mean, we can say it now, but that was literally the spec.
Wow.
So we did. Actually, I started in March 2020, and it did everything that the 1200 did by the end of May.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was working on top of the audio engine that Vlad had already been working on and for a while, and had all the Korg 1200 sound capabilities in it. And then from there, we just went on and started adding a million new features.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, because the 1200 has, you know, it has a good display, but it's a small display. Is it a real task to get the feedback, you know, the level of, you know, stuff that you're seeing on screen at the right time in such a small space? Is that a real challenge to do, or is that quite a simple thing?
Yeah, it is a challenge. Yeah. It's actually a hell of a lot of fun. Most programmers, you'll find, like, enjoy constraints. Will tell you that having to work within a constrained memory and processor and screen and so forth leads to creativity. So, yeah, in a way, I thought it was really fun to be able to do that and to cram so much into that screen, and visual displays of the faders and knobs, and the display of, like, the whole, like a mini DAW built in, to it, the copy paste and all the cool features on that little 128 by 64 monochrome screen.
Yeah,
so it's really fun.
Because I've watched a lot of Alex Ball's tutorial videos, which, you know, they're typically Alex Ball. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
And I've always been impressed by how much information you can squeeze onto that little screen at the right time to make the whole experience a lot more user friendly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Right. Let's move on to Ken. So, mate, we know you, apart from being just sort of like everywhere, doing everything, but most recently you're kind of known for your stuff with ASM. But you were in cahoots with these guys from a fairly early stage. Can you give us a bit of background as to what you were doing and how you were helping or hindering the process?
Man, I don't know if it's a help or a hindrance, but it's a lot of. Brad reached out. We had talked a little bit before, and Brad reached out really early on, and we kind of got to talking about it. I was very excited. He came at it from a house background. I came at it from a hip hop background. That's primarily a lot of my roots. And it became this kind of snowball effect of, this is what the initial idea was. This is what I'd like to do. And then this is where we're going to be. Mm-hmm. So kind of like Vlad, like I've been involved in other development beforehand. So I was kind of hinting at like some, like, let's kind of pull it back a little bit and say, hey, I don't know if you should announce this stuff because this is really far-fetched. Like, some of the ideas that you have are really out there and they're fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, you got to be a realist about some of this stuff.
You said that about live loops.
I did. I said it about live looping. I said it about.
Shut up.
Well, hold on now. Hold on. I'm going to be very clear about this because there was a few things that went on. So again, great ideas, but also I'm like, you don't want to end up in KordBot situation. You want to under promise, over deliver is what I kept saying, right? And you were like, rocket to the moon all the time, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, that's awesome. So, this came up about we had talked a lot about like how the turntable inputs could be used and things like that. So there's things that went back and forth a lot, and a lot of it was just kind of like yapping about it a lot, which was great.
There was definitely a synergistic relationship between us because of what you said, with you coming from hip hop and me coming from house.
Yeah,
I had no idea some of the hip hop tropes and the way that it was used was completely different to house, you know.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like I learned a lot from that side as well, which you know, even today I'm still learning a lot more about house music because that's not my main forte, and traveling around a lot more, I'm learning more and more about it, and meeting some really great house producers and whatnot. So there's a lot for me to learn on that side of it. But yeah, no, it's been, the Isla Instruments stuff has been a really impressive journey. Plus I also knew Mickey for quite a while before this project, and you know, especially from his Delptronics stuff. So kind of like the merging of different friends and different circles of people, you know, being somebody who has severe ADD and likes and works best when I'm working on multiple things at a time. It was just a really, really fun project. And I gotta say, in all honesty, still 100% my favorite sampler. Like it's what I use when I just want to make music to enjoy making music. That's what I'm on. So it's like my setup right now is I have a turntable, a mixer, S2400, the original prototype that I had. Actually, I think this is the second prototype that I had, but I have the Echo Fix tape echo paired with it, and the Modbat Performer paired with it, and a compressor, and I'm good to go. Like that's that setup. And then I just send live loops of like Hydrasynth and Prophet 5 and Jupiter 6 and stuff into it, and transfer those to samples, and off you go. Yeah,
sounds good. Brad, tell me, you've got a video manual for the S2400, which is made by the legend that is Alex Ball. There was a question in the chat, and that question is, if I can find it, how did you end up hooking up with Alex Ball for that video, man? How did that all come about? Because he's a bit of a ledge.
Well, it's probably become clear by now that you know, I'm one of my talents is getting people that are super talented together to pull stuff off, right? And I'm a big fan of Alex Ball. I've been for a long time, and he's one of those guys, you know, you just watch his shit on YouTube and you're like, you bastard! Like,
he makes you sick. He
so
does. He
good.
makes
You're like, you bastard.
I can't watch his videos anymore. It was at that moment that
I fell in love with him, and I knew that I knew that he had to be a part of this. And if anyone, I think a paper manual wasn't quite, and a paper manual wasn't quite going to cut it. And Mickey, she did an excellent job of doing the manual. But a lot of people, especially in dance music, I think, where you're not necessarily musically trained and all of that stuff, you need to be shown visually and practical learning. And I don't think anyone can do that better than Alex Ball when it comes to that. And I'm right, because we've seen the videos and they're amazing. He's so talented. He's done it twice now. We've got 2 user manuals. Video user manuals out of it.
That's right. Yeah.
Love you, Alex. If you're watching, thank you.
Yeah, excellent move.
Will you be using him for future video manuals?
If he'll have me,
I'm sure he will. He's getting busy though, isn't he?
I know. Yeah.
He's so busy.
This is the popularity.
I've still got lots of vintage gear though to sway him with.
Well, I was going to ask you about that a little bit later. Yeah, for sure. I just want to say big thank you to Andy Synth Addict for your donation. Thanks to Brad and team for a great job on the S2400. Also a big fan of KordBot and Brad's older gear mods. And yes, we do seem to be having a record PSN audience today. So to everyone that has joined the show just today for the first time, welcome. Thank you ever so much. We really do appreciate it, and
I'm
hopefully,
presuming it's down to my return. This it must surely to God.
It couldn't be anything else, really, could it?
Yeah.
No. It's the matching hat and shirt.
It's not quite matching. I went for the military look, but
the Mark Reader look.
I'm too old and fat, but never mind.
Can I ask whereabouts you live, Ben?
I live just outside Liverpool in Rainhill.
Oh, right, okay. You sounded like a Manc lad.
Well, I'm originally from St Helens, and I've lived in Warrington for years as well.
Right, okay. Yeah.
He's our token northerner.
I lived up north. I lived in Manchester for 10 years, so.
Good lad.
You sound like a Salford boy.
He's a Liverpool supporter, though. Jesus.
I'm from everywhere north, me.
There you go.
He's a bits. He's a bits of this and he's a bits of that.
I've got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
For young, well, Mickey actually, but it's based on what Brad and Ken have said. So Brad's come from the house background, the house music thing, and Ken, you came from the hip hop side of stuff. The 1200 was kind of known partly, and the reason it was used so much by hip hop artists, apart from the grunge, it had that swing about it, which was just amazing. What did you need to do, or what did you think about doing? What did you actually do to get that in the sequencer, Mickey?
Okay, so I guess that's sort of an inside joke. People that make electronic instruments, sequencers, we all know how swing works, and two things. One is it works exactly the same on every machine, even those that you think have their own particular swing. No, it's the same, and it's dead simple. So
Yep, there you go.
hate to disillusion the whole world on swing,
Well,
but
that's ruined swing for me forever now.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. Yeah.
I used to
really
believe
simple.
passionately that Notator had better swing than anything else on the planet. It's that the way it swung was entirely unique, and you could blend different bits of 8A, 8B, 8C, and so on to give you a unique swung thing. So I just feel like a complete knob now.
To put it bluntly.
Even though it's all the same principle, can you still not have any that's different? Because everybody's always said the Akais have got a nice swing to them, haven't they?
Yeah.
The MPC.
No, all the Akais work the same way. There's a couple. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Dave Smith and Dave Rosum and about this, and they're all like, people think it's magic, but it to the ear it is magic, but mostly it's all the same. I've done for my own sequencer projects a lot of goofing around in code to try to come up with a new kind of swing or groove type sound, and maybe with variable delays and swinging via tempo changes, and so wrote lots and lots of code, and none of it sounds as good as the dead simple delay every other 16th note.
Sure.
Wow.
Or eighth note.
That is
mind
blowing.
There you go, kids. You heard it here first.
Sorry, everybody.
No, you've
This is always a topic.
Wow.
This is something
you've ruined at least 250 people's whole concept of swing for the last 40 years.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, people. Well, it's all right. Nobody will believe me.
Yeah.
No, we do. You're the expert. We wouldn't know. I want to just come back to Brad. So I want to kind of wrap things up on the 2400 because there's more exciting things to discuss. Do you want to talk about the new things that you're doing for the S2400 now?
Yeah, well, we were going to announce something about the DSP card today. Tony, could you pass me the DSP card, please? Because I forgot.
Say hi to Tony, everyone.
It's in front of my microscope, I think. It's the thing with a heatsink on the front of it. Sorry. Yeah, we're just not quite ready for prime time because I want to do demo videos with it and everything first. So I'm sorry for the people that might have. I hope people don't drop off now.
No.
I came here for the DSP card. But yeah, there's the DSP card, and that thing is amazing. Here we go. Thanks, Tony. This is a module that sits on top of one of the boards in the S2400.
Okay.
As Vlad already sort of said, we optimized it a lot just to squeeze the 16 voices out of it. So, excuse me, there's not really much chance of include on top of the DSP filters that are already in the machine. There's not much more chance and processing cycles to get away with the sort of DSP that I wanted to put in the machine. And so this thing is essentially a Linux computer, a very powerful one. It's an ARM processor that runs Linux, a quad-core 1.6 gigahertz or 1.8 gigahertz. So probably, I don't know, you equivocate that to like an iPad or something like that, and you know, you can run a DAW on an iPad with plenty of plugins. So, I wanted to be able to chain plugins. And I know a lot of people, plugins on embedded hardware has kind of been done before with like the Receptor or Reductor, I think it was called.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, you know, like VST and LV2 plugins and stuff like that. So it needed to be its own piece of hardware. And so there'll be more news about it soon. It's imminent because this will be the production card. But we've just got to get our ducks in a row. And
yeah, sure.
Vlad will kill me, so I'm just... and the other one is the filter card. Those prototypes are currently on the way, and that is, I think, is it 12 different filter modes, Mickey? I think. But that's...
It's so, eight different modes.
8 different modes, like, you know, low pass, high pass, band pass. It's got Q compensation on a couple of the modes, and it's got gain drive and gain and output drive. So one of the foibles with the S2400 was that the outputs can be a tad low, and so this card will sort of get over that, but also give you the creamy analog filters that everyone craves.
And is that going to be 6 dB, 12 dB, 80? What's the?
Yeah, I should have those notes in front of me, and I apologise that I don't. But yeah, there's like
the gain
of the. Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking about the slopes then of the filters.
The slopes. No, I was asking about the slopes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's 2-pole, 3-pole, and 4-pole filters on low pass and high pass, and then Q compensation on a low pass and a high pass mode, I think. Is that right, Mickey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Hey Brad, can you talk about what filters are you using, like SSI chips or like?
Yeah, SSI chips, which are basically remakes of the old SSM filters that you'd have found in a lot of that old stuff. There's 8 of them. Slapped on a board. It's quite a heavy populated board. So, and they'll be user installable, and both cards can coexist. So you can put the DSP card in both, and a filter card, and that'll probably be bringing an end to tricking out the S2400 at that point.
That'll be So that no, I've read in some of your posts about plugins working on this DSP board. Can you talk a little bit more about what we can expect in terms of plugins working on there?
You can, yeah, but why don't you ask Vlad that so I don't get myself into trouble?
Vlad, you have the floor. Can you tell us a bit about the plugins that we're going to see on this DSP card? Oh, you're muted. Hang on. You have to unmute your mic. There.
Yeah, here I am. All fresh and unmuted. So plugins, the definitive list isn't there. The thing is that if you just tell people you can put anything on it, people will put anything on it. But the plugins for this thing, have to be kind of specific because there's no user interface, and we are not going to put all these beautiful plugin graphics onto the tiny OLED that we have.
Of course, yeah.
So basically, plugins need to be special for that thing. So they must be able to run headless. They cannot do fancy routing stuff, basically just stereo in and out. So that's going to limit the number of plugins that you're going to put. You need to compile them for ARM, so they're also not. You cannot just grab something off your PC and shove it down there. And all that together makes that we can, at this point in time, we are not going to put a definitive list of plugins. I mean, there's so many plugins out there that, of course, we will have all the staples like reverbs and compressors and distortions and all these things and filters. That's all going to be there. In terms of some brand names, I think Brad is in the process of talking to some people, and he'll announce that with way more fanfare than I could do.
I'm not allowed to talk about that, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
no, I'm not.
So we have
literally.
Yeah.
So he kind of doesn't let me talk about things, and I don't let him talk about things. So
no, what we should say is, like, part of the VST standard is that, because a lot of people have asked that question about, well, how about editing parameters? You don't have a GUI, you can't put graphics on the screen. Well, just using VST standard as an example, VST plugins have to present their parameter list, and that's generally in the form of whatever it is, but talks to the API or the computer and says, hey, these are the parameters I have, they're values of this X range and all of that stuff. So our machine, our card can take that parameter list and then present it on the screen as a list, much in the same way as our menus already do with some of the functions that you do. But to speak to what Vlad said, he's quite right, you don't expect to be running a plugin that has like 60 parameters. It might work, but it wouldn't translate, it wouldn't make sense. Sure. But there are hundreds of plugins and that have only got say 10 parameters that are going to be the shit.
And will you be using the sliders to do any of that editing?
Well, that's up to Mickey.
Mickey, will you be using those sliders?
I'm just going to play table tennis all day with this.
Yeah. Well, short answer, yes. The sliders and knobs will be used to control the parameters. So the UI, the basics of the UI is simple. Like there's a list of parameters, and so obviously we'll have a text screen like a menu where you can adjust them, like adjusting anything else in the 2400. But that would be limiting, especially in a live performance set. So you want to be able to assign parameters to a control, and be able to do that stuff on on the fly. And of course, there's 8 channels, so there's how you do that is going to be tricky, because obviously you can say, well, okay, if I want to control all 8 at once, then I have one slider and the double knob per channel, or I can say, well, to let this one plugin take over and let me control 24 properties with all the knobs and faders at once. So we'll see how quickly we get with config.
Would you be thinking about, with partners on this, would you be thinking about asking them to essentially deliver up a default list that will work for any of them, so there will always be a default set of parameters that you'll have access to?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if somebody is developing specifically for the card, then yeah, we'd work with them on that. But any VST is sort of built into the standard that there's a list. You can query the DLL or whatever, and it will give you the list of parameters.
Cool.
So that's what we're tapping into.
That's part of the VST standard.
If you've ever been on Cubase and loaded a plugin up, or in Logic, there's often like a button that you can click, and the GUI turns off. Like the fancy graphics will go away, and you'll just see bog standard sliders and values. That's right, and that's the plugin delivering its capabilities and parameters, and that's what we tack into.
Cool, excellent stuff. Right, I want to kind of just temporarily, for the time being, just draw the line under the S2400, which is still very close to the top of my list of bits to acquire in the coming months and year. Let's just see if we've got any questions first.
Where do babies come from?
I got a quick question. I'm going to roll back. I'm going to roll back to the filter question to Brad. So I'm assuming it's going to be the 2140 chip, because you're going to be doing multi-mode filtering in it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just double checking for.
Is it 2144?
2140, I would think. The 2144 is just the low pass.
Yeah. So the other one then.
Yeah. The 2144 is the fat keys.
Yeah. I should just be able to reel this off, but I've got about 10 KiCad projects in my mind that we're working on.
It's the fat keys.
It's the fat. Yeah. There's the 2144, right?
Well, wait, is it the multi-mode or is it just the low pass?
It's multi-mode. But you can actually use them in different ways.
It's the 40 if it's multi-mode.
Yeah.
Let's not fight, kids. Let's not fight. Right, so we've got some audience questions here, and I'm just going to pick a few out here. Does it run 2600 games?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Because do you know
you're not supposed to ask questions when you're on the panel.
Never mind that. Will it actually have a little bird running across the screen?
Yeah, you got to have a bird, flightless bird, running across the screen. What I haven't pointed out to everyone is that Andrew is ex-E-MU here, so you've actually got an ex-E-MU guy in the room, and a lot of love for the 2400, I'm sure.
Yeah, very much so. Cool. Very, very much so.
Video games. That this thing plays. Is it Doom? I think it's Doom on here. One of those things.
Wow.
That's quite cool.
Oh, that's quite impressive, really.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that Vlad's told me no about.
There you go. No games.
You
no
wanted Doom as well.
Unreal Tournament. Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, Brad, people have seen the 2400 playing games.
Yeah, we've got some games on there. We just haven't
We
released
haven't
them,
told
have we?
people how to do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you should do.
Challenge accepted.
We did release this thing about an Easter egg. Do you remember that, Mickey? But we were lying; it wasn't really there, and we said there was going to be some reward to whoever the first person to find the Easter egg was, and people are like, "Oh, I've tried this, and there wasn't one."
Oh, that's nasty.
That's cool.
That's
I like
that. Right, so I've got a question here from Davis Lewis Love. Will the output boost be on one of those cards?
Yeah, that's on the analog filter board. Yeah.
Okay. Was there ever an idea to motorize the faders in the planning stage? That's from Macaron After Party.
No.
Okay. I'm going to have to read this one first. Will the DSP card require art? Oh, no. Yeah. So you can do it yourself.
If you're too scared to do it yourself, I mean, it is literally just a push-in thing, well, and a couple of screws, but there's no soldering or anything like that. But, you know, if you're heavy-handed or you got butterfingers and you're a bit scared of it, definitely if you're in the UK, Jazz Cat's my man. If you're in the States, it's probably just us is the easiest thing to do. But we've got technicians dotted around the globe.
Can I also ask, is there going to be like an updated release where this is already built into it, like a?
Are you going to sell them with it built in?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably sell it as a bundle, and unless and until there's like a Mark II S2400, and there aren't any plans for that, then it would just be a bundle that we would just pre-install all the cards at the factory. I think Akai did that, didn't they, with the MPC 2000 and the 2000 XL was pretty much that. And
in terms of warranty, will that invalidate warranties? No, cool stuff. Excellent.
No, there's no warranty, no.
Full stop.
That's it, done. Let's see if we've got any more.
Sold the scene, mate.
Can you add multi-mode panning for sound sent to the main stereo output on the S2400?
Multi-mode panning.
Multi-mode panning for sounds sent to the main output. Shall I leave that one? Yes, no. Should we leave that one till later? Maybe come back to that.
It's a good suggestion, though. I get it. It just took me a while to.
Yeah. Okay. So no, but maybe
in a filter way. Is that what?
I don't know.
No, I think he means on a per event step. Can you change the panning ever?
Okay.
Right. I see.
Cool. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to leave that question in the pot there just in case we get anything back from that. Right. Okay. So that is.
Sorry. One more. There was one more question. Sorry. Yeah. Just to do with the effects board. Will this be addressable so that you can send individual samples or sounds or tracks to a different effect? So in other words, how many effects can you run either globally or on each channel?
Right. So think of it. If you think of an audio console that's got your tracks into subgroups, and then your groups into your master, it's structured that there's basically 8 effects chains, plus possibly sends, returns, but 8 effects chains that are essentially sat on the groups that you're sending all of your individual sounds to. Because there's 8 outputs on the machine, right?
Right.
So those effects chains essentially straddle those outputs.
Right.
Cool.
So it will require you giving some forethought and planning on what you're sending to your subgroups.
It makes sense, though. Yeah.
Well, we could only do it that way unless we completely replaced the engine.
Is Brad talking about using something that requires forethought and planning?
Wow, I'm regretting asking you now, Ken.
Let the trolling commence.
I'll speak to you tonight, mate.
Giving him a hard time
I just want to point out something. Has Kent lost some hair?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Kent's had a bit of a thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Kent.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You
Kent
look
has
much
changed
younger.
into the one and only Dr. Manny Fernandez. May I be the first or maybe the second or third person to welcome you to the United Kingdom. How the hell are you?
I am fine. My tuchus is a little bit sore from the wonderful journey out of London to make our way up here, with all the bridges closed. But we got the requisite greeting from the pooches downstairs.
Of course.
We got a wonderful brew, courtesy of Fiona, making a pit stop.
Lovely.
And my wife Hayden is downstairs chatting up they're having a good time.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Really
So your journey was good, yeah?
Yes, nice flight in, and
Nice.
everything went smooth. Getting the train to the hotel, and yeah, all good.
And you're here for how long?
Till the day after Synthfest.
Nice. So, because if anybody doesn't already know, because we've talked about it enough, Manny and I are going to be on stage at Synthfest UK next Saturday, 2:30 to 3:30. We're going to be talking all things. Have a guess, everyone. What do you think it might be all about?
CS80s.
Exactly.
Whose birthday was it? Whose 40th birthday was it this year? There's nobody here on this screen
Mine.
that I can see.
Mine.
No, it wasn't.
No.
That wasn't even this century. We are celebrating 40 years of the DX7, and we shall be talking about all things FM, and we'll be looking at some... I'm not going to say what we're going to be doing, but there's going to be some cool things on stage other than myself and Manny. So if you want to witness that, then go and buy your Synthfest tickets. They're £15 now, I think. Might be some available on the door, but I would book in advance. And it's at the Octagon Centre in Sheffield next Saturday, so a week tomorrow. It is simply the best synthesizer show we've got in the country, and it's run by Sound on Sound. There's going to be seminars, there's going to be loads of stands. Maximus will be there, the Analog Solutions Maximus, of which Ty received his today, I saw on social media. Oh, look, there's Kent as well. He's back again. So do come to Synthfest, and you can see Manny in person. And don't worry, Manny. Look what arrived today.
Thank you.
I should be asking sizes and bringing some up. So,
I see you actually were able to procure my honorarium.
Indeed, yes.
Indeed.
He gets a T-shirt.
He gets a T-shirt.
Everybody
gets a T-shirt. Yeah.
He absolutely gets a T-shirt.
Yeah.
He's travelled 5,500 miles to get a T-shirt.
Ken, where were you when we were talking about 2140s and 2144s and which was the actual multi-mode filter?
This were arguing about chips.
I'm here.
You don't get a T-shirt, mate.
You didn't chip in, so that's why you don't get a T-shirt.
I was here.
Chip in.
No.
Yeah, I
That's
caught
not how
that
it works.
one.
I was
Yeah,
here.
it's
Here. Right here.
they were literally fighting.
Yeah, to find a headphone jack that worked.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. So let's see. Oh, hang on. Andy's just put in a request here. Can I have a new one as I lost my sign and square? You'd lost the sign and the square. Okay. We should actually put something sawtoothy in there, and then we'd have the whole set.
I know, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
It's not there, is it?
Logo redesign, maybe that's something for 2024. I shall be bringing them up with me, so I've got a handful here, so we'll be able to sort something out, I am sure. Peter has just reminded me next year is the 40th birthday of the Emulator 2. And Peter, I haven't forgotten. Trust me, I've been so busy just lately. We will speak about that and maybe what can be done to celebrate that, because that is, for me, I mean, that's the holy grail for me. I know everybody thinks I'm a Fairlight fan, but I would love an Emulator too. Anyway, moving on. Let's get back to the case in hand here. So Isla Instruments are with us.
SSI
Welcome.
2140.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
a bunch of 2164s as well. I've got
He's
the
literally
schematic open now.
Look at that. Dedication.
I thought he'd gone quiet.
Yeah.
Absolute dedication.
I just want to say I told you so.
Don't give him the opportunity. Right, okay, let's bring in this baby, because this is, I think, what a lot of people are excited about. I certainly am, because I've heard the demos. You put a demo video up just about 24 hours ago with your boy there playing the keys on the was it an Oberheim XK controller?
Yeah, it's a beautiful little controller.
Sweet little thing that is, yeah. But this is what everybody's going to be getting excited about, and pre-orders are open right now. All you got to do is go to islainstruments.com/product/Caladan, and there it is. Caladan was with a price of $949, or you can do it monthly. But pre-orders are pretty much essential for this thing to get going and get going well.
Ground. Now,
absolutely.
For everyone that's watching the show, it will end tonight. But if you use the coupon code ProSynth at checkout, there's an extra little bit off for you.
There you go. Can we tell them how much? Or
well, they'll have to find out when they check out.
Yeah.
You mean, well, by that, do you mean there's fewer voices?
99 cents.
Yeah, it's $948. No, so Brad has been very generous. He's generated a code that's going to run up till. So when you say the end of the day, is that the end of the day your time, Eastern time?
I'll make it fair. Yeah, the end of my day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Until tomorrow, I'll wake up and turn it off.
There you go. Yeah. So if you punch in that code when you pre-order, you will get a not insignificant little discount off of your. Basically, it's going to reduce those numbers, and it is actually going to reduce the number on the left.
It reduces it to the same number that the S2400 pre-order launched when I did the stream with Ken Flux. Exactly.
Which, keep in mind, it jumped up after that, and then it went up again after that, because it had to, not because he was gouging, just to be clear. It was literally like parts prices and everything just rise, and costs rise, and
it's a
Brad's crazy
to get the thing into production, and then the way I see it is, and this is how it works with the S2400, that you lower the price as much as you can to pay for development and actually get the parts and everything and build them and ship them. And then the idea is that people love it, and then this is what happened with the S2400. Loads of YouTube videos start popping up. Everyone's super happy because they got it for such a small price and can't believe it. And that seeds its way down to then people come in, and people that didn't jump on the pre-order then sort of pay the real price.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a good model.
It's an encouragement to get on board early, isn't it? Yeah.
Get in early. Yeah. It is. So you're hoping to ship these by July 2024. But before we even go into that, can you just we'll start off with Brad, because this is your baby. Can you tell us where Caladan came from, because there is a little bit of a backstory there, and what it is and what it does,
is there,
and what makes it so special?
So the backstory. I wanted to do a synthesizer. It was a choice between a synthesizer or another product that I won't mention. But I wanted to do a synthesizer, and I wanted it to be different architectures, not just, it's a VA, or it's an analog mono synth, or it's an analog polysynth, because everything has kind of been done to death. And I had the idea of different topologies inside one box, and a lot of my ideas were apparently shit.
I didn't say anything. Don't look at me.
And I was actually browsing through Facebook, and a contemporary friend of mine, Brad Ferguson, who launched the company Future Sonus. He had a Kickstarter at about the same time as I had the Kickstarter for KordBot with the Future Sonus Parva, which I'm not sure if anyone's not familiar with it. It was I'll have to change the camera, but it was this this machine here.
That's it.
Which was a really fantastic machine. There's actually some audio demos of it on the Caladan page. There you go. And I said, hey, look, I noticed you're not selling this anymore. What are you doing with it? And Brad had a bit of a burnout, with the whole customer facing thing. It's difficult dealing with people, and he's been working on other projects. So it kind of was just a bit serendipitous, and I said, would you be interested in me, taking over the IP for it? And it sort of gave me a good foothold up the ladder for achieving what I wanted to do, which was something that he hadn't implemented but had wanted to do. And the unique thing about the Future Sonus was that it used internal voice cards, and which are these little things here, which is what the Caladan uses. And really, these are all completely self-contained analog synths on each card, and there's 8 of these in a Parva, and there's also 8 slots in the Caladan. Now, the Parva had 8 identical cards to make it an 8-part multi-timbral 8-voice synth.
Right.
And so the difference with the Caladan, apart from a lot of UI differences and bringing out buttons and breaking out stuff so that you've got sort of instant access to it, was that you can use different cards because they're all kind of standalone synths on a card. You can put whatever you want on a card. So as you can see on the Caladan page on the Isla Instruments website, off the bat, we've got a respin of the original Parva card, which is like a 3 oscillator, a 3 DCO, with 4 envelopes, 4 LFOs, 40 different routing points for all of those. It's a really, really powerful voice card. We're a slightly improved version of that at launch, and Mickey has got a brilliant design. She's done a lot of stuff with analog drums, like Little Drummer Boy module and stuff like that.
Okay.
Designed some of the sounds for a very well-known analog drum machine that's on the market.
Oh, my NDA's expired.
Oh, so she's responsible for.
Let us know.
She's responsible for some of the amazing sounds in the drum group, and invented the world's first analog reverse cymbal. So I think the plan is that Mickey will be doing a nice analog percussion card. We've also got Oberheim SEM. I've been working on a design using a dual OPL3 chip. People probably know I'm a bit of a fan for the old 90s sound and nostalgia. And so if you remember Sound Blaster cards back in the 90s, just a 4-operator FM synth chip, basically 28 voice, I think it is. On a single chip. So I'm sticking 2 of those on a voice card with analog filters. So it can either be used as like FM generation of oscillators going into filters, or as like a 48 voice, I think, 4-operator FM synth. There's TB303, a few different voice architectures, but essentially you could have like one of these voices, one of something else, one of something else. Not all cards will be single voice. Some cards will have more than one voice, obviously, as I said there. So all in all, on top of its built-in functionality of being able to do multi-sample playback, you've essentially got all sorts of different types of real analog or digital synths in the same box. So it's kind of like a synth engine hosting platform, if you like.
Yeah. I've got a couple of questions. If
I'm sure.
It looks amazing.
Thank you.
First off, somebody said in the chat, would it be like backwards compatible with the Parva? Is it the Parva? So it updates that you do now, would they be applicable to that? And will the sound cards that come out, the voice cards that come out, will they be backwards compatible with that?
Unfortunately, they won't, because so one of the things with the Parva is that it sort of hit its limit because of the processor architecture it was using, and a few other things, and we wouldn't really have been able to develop that further. You can imagine we've kind of taken the concept of what it does and kind of partly how it looks, and then sort of run with that. So we've moved processor architecture and a lot of the audio mixing stages and stuff like that are on the main board. So unfortunately, the pinout of the connector, although they are the same, won't be backwards compatible with the Parva.
Brilliant.
It's a shame, but it was a necessity, you know.
Yeah, but it's what you've got to do, isn't it? But looking at the layout there, it is the 4 slots for 4 different synths, and that's
right. So what we've got here, so this is our oscillator section across the top.
Right.
So these knobs here are for our oscillator, and for each one, so let's say first off, we've got 8 part buttons here. So we want to select part 1. And then we might want that particular card might have, or that particular part might actually be using one or more cards. So for each voice, let's say this card, for instance, has got 3 oscillators and 4 envelopes. So we can select which oscillator. This screen's going to change as it did on the Parva. So we've got our 3 oscillators. Select. These are our 4 envelopes, 4 LFOs. If we're talking about the Parva voice card, and then our filter sections, so you can select for each thing. So, and then the reason for these RGB LEDs, I'll dream up some other stuff to use them that Vlad and Tommy know for, but because they're RGB. You'll be able to sort of see where other voices are set. So imagine not all of these LEDs will be lit. There'll just be one lit showing a position of the parameter of a different voice, for instance, or a different card at a glance, you know?
Right.
So
that's
really,
smart.
yeah,
That's really smart.
It is.
Yeah.
I do have problems getting the ideas out of my head and then articulating them properly enough so that Vlad and Mickey understand it without thinking I'm an absolute moron. Let's be honest, right?
There was a question. Oh, no, go ahead, Vlad. Go ahead.
I use the term raving lunatic normally.
Yeah.
But Vlad, look, here it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
done an amazing job bringing that hardware up. Vlad had the hardware for 2 days, 3 days, and a couple of days later, you know, the followers on social media have seen me incessantly post pictures of someone put it so succinctly the other day. Wow, that turned from a box of parts to a thing really quick.
Yeah, it was only like 2 weeks ago you did that live build, didn't you? The prototype.
I couldn't believe how many people were interested in watching it being built.
Yeah, it was absolutely good.
That
it was
great
fascinating
fun,
to watch.
Yeah.
So there's a question. I think Vlad's kind of answered it in chat, but I just want to bring it into the show.
Yeah.
So Sinewaves was saying, a bit confused. If you have one card in, can you play that card polyphonically, or do you need 8 of the same card? And Vlad's responded saying, yeah, one card can be. Is it up to 8 voice polyphonic?
No, not really. We're governed by the amount of space on a card. So the original Parva cards were single voice, 3 oscillator, single voice cards.
Right.
But for instance, as I said, like the FM OPL3 card, that card is like 48 voices just on one card. There's a chance that we might be able, for things like the SEM voice and stuff like that, it's probably quite possible that we can squeeze 2 voices onto a card.
Okay.
You know,
so it's dependent on the card. Will give you
the real estate of the size of what we can squeeze onto each.
So theoretically, if you were to put 8 of those OPL3 cards in with, you say 40 notes?
I can't do that math that quick.
But what I'm saying is you'd have 8 times 48 note polyphony. You'd have way more bells than you would to shake a stick at. Yeah,
and 392 voices.
Yeah, whatever. It's
something
a lot.
that we're pretty excited about as well is that we're open sourcing the API for the voice card. So I've got in my hand here.
I was going to ask
this is like a PCI Edge connector here. So this can plug into the bottom of the machine. You've got your trailing cable coming out, and then you've got a development board here for companies, designers, and engineers or whatever that want to create their own cards. So once the API is finished for communicating between the machine itself and the card, we want to open that up and hopefully other people will jump on board and make their own cards.
Nice. That's a really cool idea.
You're going to have some really unique instruments out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It will just make it very personal. And that's a great thing to have in a sense.
Yeah.
I want to come to Vlad, if I may, to start with. When you were working on this, as Brad's pointed out, it didn't take you long at all for you to get this up and running. Was that because you're working from a platform that kind of already existed with the Parva, so a lot of that kind of work had been done, or was it just, was it because you're a mad genius? I don't know. Tell me.
Well, I like the mad genius moniker, but no, it's actually because basically the main CPU inside the Caladan is the same that's in the SP12 in the S2400. So basically, all the low-level drivers for LEDs, buttons, and all that's kind of similar between the two platforms. So basically, getting the first board up and running meant, because they come from China pre-stuffed with all the parts, and then Brad soldered all the through-hole stuff, and then sent it to me. Mm-hmm. And of course, every time you have a version 1 hardware, there's some things that you did wrong, some tiny changes. You have to scratch some traces, solder some tiny wires. So that took some time. And then for the drivers that we already had in the previous product, it was rather quick. For some, I had to write new driver code to basically just make everything show up. Like we have now, for example, we have 5 OLEDs now. So somewhere you need to multiplex the OLED signals between 5 displays. So that took a while. And there was unfortunately there was an error in the schematics. So I had to hot patch some of that stuff on the PCB. And had to send instructions to Brad, and he hates me now because he had to do all these things as well. And he is way less patient than I am under the microscope, it seems. So he kept cursing me while he did all those changes on his side to make the code run at his place.
It was out of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one quick thing I wanted to say before, because obviously we're going to move on from the card topic soon. But I do have her permission. Paula Maddox is in the chat, and Paula, as many people might know, was the brains behind a lot of the modal synths, and they are fucking fantastic synthesizers, I must say. And Paula has a design that she'd been working on, and has moved on to something else, I think. But she said it'll be perfect for going into the Caladan. So that one I'm excited about as well, because I think pretty much anything Paula's ever made is the absolute dog's bollocks. So
agreed. No, I couldn't agree more.
So here's a question for you, young Brad Skywalker.
I mean, I'm nearly 45, but okay.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I was going to ask, are you nearly 45? No, the other question I had was, so when this ships, someone buys today, it ships. What's it going to ship with? One card with how many voices? Which card?
So the pre-order's open on the website. At the moment, you can pre-order it with 2 cards or 4 cards, and there's a total of 8 slots.
Okay.
And the 4 cards or 8? Sorry, the 2 cards or 4 cards. Those are additional to the price of the unit, or?
No, they're bundled in the pre-order price. There's 2 prices for the pre-order. I think one's 949 and the other is 1149. So that's either you want it with 2 cards or you want it with 4 cards.
Gotcha.
If you really want it with 8 cards, we will do that as well. But it gives us more opportunity to sell you the different cards if you've got 4 spaces in your machine.
That's really competitive. I mean, that's madly competitive.
It is, because when you think about some of the keyboardless synths that have been coming out of late, and there have been a few, that's a bargain in terms of what it can do. It's an absolute, and the fact that it's not hardwired and you can't do anything else with it other than what they've said you can do with it. The fact that you can pick and choose the cards you want that suit your needs, and with the promise of others coming down the line, not only from Isla Instruments but also from possibly third-party developers as well. This has got legs. I think this is a platform, not just an instrument. It's a platform.
Yeah. And the question therefore has to be, because it's the one we ask about every single instrument of late, it seems. MPE.
Oh, yes. Well, that was already built into the Parva. In fact, Parva was one of the first, I think, synths that was MPE. I might be wrong, but I think it was. I think it was also one of the first that had USB host MIDI as well, which the Caladan has obviously got as well. It was MPE.
I'd rather ask you about MIDI 2.0.
Oh, yeah, there's a good question.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that supported? Fully supported?
I'm not allowed to say anything, am I?
Okay, so that's a yes then. No, that's fine. No, well, I'm sure if it is, it will be. And yeah, we'll stop there.
So there's a couple of questions about the audio outputs and stuff. There's on this prototype there are 8 stereo outputs, so that's 8 stereo output buses, and then 2 master, which is a mix of all of those, and a submix. That is subject to change, but at the moment that's
so
how
the stereo outputs, is that a single TRS or is it two?
Yeah, there's 8 single TRSs.
Right, so it's unbalanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Bloody cheapskate.
Well, yeah. Like I said, it's subject to change because we're still having discussion about the audio, the audio signal paths and stuff, and how that might work. So,
I got to tell you. I mean, when I started looking at this, I looked at the diagrams the photos, etc. online. I was kind of wondering, well, what's this going to do that's different? And I've been kind of, go on, impress me. I'm deeply impressed.
Thank you.
I am. I'm really deeply impressed. I've done, that little bugger back there. That's one of mine that I worked with on. And
the command station.
Yeah.
I've got one here for sale if you want to buy another one.
I've got 2.
Always on the make. He's always on the make.
They work.
You can take the boy out of Essex. You can take the boy out of Essex, but you can't take Essex out of the boy.
He could have had 2 burger vans at Thurrock Services or something. He could have done well. The boy could have done well.
Billy.
But listen, I'm really blown away with this. I think you've really thought this through, and it's a great concept.
Look, I said, I love synths. I'm a synth nut, but I don't want to keep buying the same synth all the time. Yeah.
You do miss Thurrock though, don't you?
It does seem like something genuinely different. This,
right?
Yeah, no, it does, and that's always. I mean, that's always a good thing in this world because I think we've reached a point where synth design in the main has kind of plateaued. There's not a huge amount of really new and different ideas coming out. There's always tends to be a variation on the theme. Some are good, some maybe not so much. But to have something like this is really different.
And I think the ones that get really good, like there's a lot of super impressive deep synths. I'm allowed to say some names, right? Like synths like the Waldorf stuff. Quite groundbreaking, quite amazing in what it does. But the more impressive and unique they get, the more difficult they become to use.
Not Hydrosynth.
Yeah. No, that's true.
No, I think Hydrosynth is one of the ones that nails the UI, personally. Yeah. I'm only saying that because I haven't got one, but...
Hey, I just want to point something out. I want to point something out that I mentioned this in the chat too, but I'm looking around and, we've all got a bunch of different synthesizers, but as he's describing this and what it can do and what it should be able to add on to it down the road, the only other synthesizer I had that can do anything similar to that as far as adding to the voice architecture like that is an Omega 8, which I bought a year or 2 ago, and sucker's like $6,000. So you know what I mean? And it's also, I'm just getting, you can get different voice cards to add polyphony, but they're all the same voice. But then you can get different filters. But this is you're basically changing the whole synth architecture per card like that, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. Are you going to make a Hydrosynth card for the Caladan?
You'll have to talk to Glenn about that.
Come on,
that's above my pay grade.
Idea, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, you're all talking. By the time I catch up with who's talking, my camera skills, I've only got one finger and slow thing. Anyway, Caladan. I think we had. We got any more questions? Just want to. Robert, thank you for your donation. Is it possible, he says, to develop grain and wavetable cards?
Well, that's the beauty of it, is the cards are... So essentially the card has power, what's called a SPI bus, which is a serial communication bus, and it has audio. What we as the designers, or what other people as the designers choose to put as a tone generation source on the card is completely up to them.
Wow.
Another question from Macaron. I love that name, Macaron After Party. Possible to generate a card for video synthesis and a spot on the Caladan for an HDMI out?
All right, now you're getting a bit silly.
Yeah, I thought that.
But, worth asking. I mean, it's still in development. You never know.
I want a Bontempi chord organ.
Well, I do want to do a string machine card.
Okay.
For it, because I've been working with a lot of those at the moment, like the Trident and the Korg Lambda. We've just been repairing one of them, and you bang the chorus ensemble on that, and they sound so lush. And I think that's a sound that's kind of not used that much anymore because it's kind of forgotten to the 70s. And I think that sound deserves to come back a bit.
Yeah,
stringers, I love them.
Absolutely, yeah.
The idea of the HDMI out on the synth it seems a bit outlandish, but on the S2400, it seems like
we've already done it. We've already done it, and actually on the DSP card, you might notice that there is actually a HDMI socket.
Right.
Yeah.
The Mickey hack.
The Mickey hack, yeah. So, it is actually possible. At the moment, we haven't. The way that because this HDMI socket is actually inside the machine. Yeah. So if we're going to do that and give people a HDMI out, then we've got to probably make a new side panel that has a HDMI port in it.
Right.
And it'll be something I guess we'll have to gauge interest in. But I mean, it's some things they're like cool ideas, but if 30 people want it, that's probably where it ends.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, to make it useful, it's easy to mirror the screen. Like Ken said, I actually, mine has HDMI out. I did, it was a hack. But mirroring the screen's really easy. But, once it has that, people are going to ask for a million other things. That, can't it do? And then it's an enormous development effort.
Then you're building a completely different machine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you'll end up with a computer, then, basically.
Well,
we might as well just buy an MPT.
Yeah. I actually had some HDMI woes with the Yamaha Modi X this week because when we're doing Synthfest next week with Manny's going to be doing a whole bit on the Modi X and programming FM on that. And you can actually, I was told you can output the video from the screen on the Modi X out of the USB port at the back and then into an HDMI converter. And I've just spent a thick end of, I don't know, £100 on finding compatible components. And I think we might have discussed this on another show, found out that the thing that wasn't working on mine was the fact that my HDMI capture card is too good. That was the reason. It was a 4K, and the output from this thing was just throwing it. And so I actually had to buy one of those cheap Chinese manufactured HDMI capture cards for about 13 quid. Worked first time. That's an interesting thing. Anyway, moving on. Caladan. So pre-orders are open now. You can use this code if you want to get a discount. And I've already seen a bunch of people in the chat saying they've just ordered it. So hopefully we've generated a little bit of business for you there, which is always good. So you've got till the end of Brad's day, or basically tomorrow morning when Brad gets up, and let's all hope Brad sleeps in tomorrow.
Whenever he CBA.
That code that you see right there on the screen, which is just ProSynth, if you stick that into the pre-order page, you will get a nice little discount. Courtesy of Brad and Isla Instruments. So thank you very much for doing that. Maybe
the
wish
SID emulator card is on the list, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
On the
That's
page.
nice.
Someone asked about that. There's one other thing that we failed to mention there as well. So out of the box, the Caladan without any cards installed. Currently, it's. I don't have it hooked up. I don't think, but currently it's actually got a sound font of an E-MU Orbit installed on it that I put on the internal SD card, which is what I was playing about with yesterday. So the astute people on YouTube that shouted out, "Yeah, thank the '90s called. They want their sounds back." You're dead right, because it was a sound font of an E-MU Orbit. But out of the box at the moment, it's got sound font playback compatibility. But me and Vlad were discussing this morning about how we're going to deal with the internal digital audio side of it. And what we're probably going to do is, much akin to the DSP card, is actually put a SOM, a Linux system on module, a SOM, inside the machine. So the likelihood is that out of the box, without any cards, there will be some level of plug-in compatibility for like VST instrument. Maybe just one, maybe more than one. Nice. We don't know that yet, but it's an easier way for us to approach SFZ and sound font playback, multi-sample playback, is just to put that on its own computer inside the machine. So yeah, without any cards at all.
So
there's
each card has got its own voice in, but the machine has got its own voice in as well. So if you install these plugins, it'll...
purely digital purely digital playback. Built in.
I've got some lovely sound fonts for you from way back when, if you know what I mean.
I was actually. I've been talking to Tim, who was the lead sound designer. Yeah, Tim. He's a really lovely guy.
He's a fantastic guy.
He's known about Caladan for quite a while. He gave me the sound fonts and said, "Well, he can't license those E-MU fonts to me for use in hardware. He can do some sound palettes that for the retro heads, like some shit hot." Sound fonts that will suit Caladan really well, and then having the hands-on control over those parameters then takes them to another level,
Yeah. Listen, that code has worked magic
wonders.
My air
compressor's kicking in. Sorry.
Dr. Mike Metley has just ordered one, and he hates
Mike.
us all. So there you go.
Thanks,
We've managed to get Mike to dig into his wallet.
He never buys anything, that fella.
I hung out with Mike in NobCon in Chicago and had pizza together and beers.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Did you manage to get rid of him all right, though? We love you, Mike. We love you. We love you. DJ Prominent in the chat says, can you confirm which cards will be available when this ships? And will you send an update at a later date to select your 2 or 4 choice options? Thank you.
Yes, we will at ship time. We are doing we can't promise. I get myself into trouble in the past when I've promised stuff, but the ones that are in bold when you look down the list on the pre-order page are the ones that are already in development.
Okay.
So yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 there that we hope to have ready at launch.
Nice, yeah. So you got the Dual OP L3 4-op FM and the SEM/OBX card.
Yeah.
And then they're in development. But the other ones are analog percussion, which is hopefully where we'll see a lot of Mickey sounds come out. Minimo card, SH101 card, and a string machine card. So some real nice selections in there.
And the 303, did I not add that one on there?
Oh no, that's not on there.
No, you did mention that.
The other one that I really want to do, but it takes a bit more research, is a Alesis Andromeda voice.
I was going to say, because you mentioned that.
Yeah, so it's actually based on a Moog, I think 721B oscillator, going into a Moog something 706 maybe, or 712 filter. But that's actually what those chips inside an Alesis had cloned. Those Moog modules.
Okay, that'd be cool.
That would be something really cool to pull off, because the Andromedas are rare beasts these days. I've got Jamiroquai's one.
Oh, shut up!
And they're, if they break, they're dead forever. So that's a voice that needs to be brought back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you can do to bring those doorstops back to life would be fantastic. Yeah, cool stuff. So we've got about 20 minutes of the show left. Wow. I think there's probably no point going over any of the news items, apart from maybe just 1 or 2 that I did promise certain people that we would discuss. So I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to look at any of this stuff, but we will lightly touch on some of these. Let's see. I think the first one I've got to say, because Kent and I want to bring Kent in, because Kent's just been sat there very quietly, is this little baby. I say little baby. It's a rather large affair when you install it. It's the new instrument from IK Multimedia. Now, Kent and I have been very, very fortunate to be one of a select few who've been able to play with this for the last few weeks. This is Pianoverse from IK Multimedia. Let me just, for the benefit of our audience, let's give them a little demonstration of what Pianoverse is all about. because it does go on a little bit, that one. But you get the idea. Pianoverse is basically a platform for IK Multimedia to supply you with very large, very detailed piano sample libraries. And then you can place that piano into one of any 30 generative spaces that allow you to not only just give the piano some ambience, but also to bring in some extra effects. So, for example, if you are using the Red Planet space, which is, kind of playing a piano on Mars, which, of course, couldn't be done in real life. Well, certainly not with today's technology.
Not yet.
You can bring in, not yet. You can bring in elements of shooting stars, or it's just kind of a nice little twist on the whole kind of reverberation. We've had a lot of things like shimmer verbs, and we're kind of getting a little bit sick of those. This now just adds a little bit more to it, and you've got all sorts of different locations. Other than the obvious stuff like studio environments.
When was the last time? I'm sorry, Robbie. When was the last time that you was recording piano, and you said, "I wish I was on Mars with a shooting star"?
Last week, yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. But you can also record it on the sea floor. You can place it into a mansion, into a presbytery, monastery. There's a Red Planet. There's ice flow, like an iceberg. It's just a very clever way of doing it. Not only that, I mean, the pianos have been very deeply sampled. They're about 25 gigabytes per piano. And they've all been, as you saw in the video, they've been robotically sampled, so they get every velocity straight and every all the different settings are there. It's not super detailed. Somebody picked them up, I saw online somewhere, that it doesn't have per string resonance settings and all this kind of stuff. No, it doesn't, but it does have lots of other things that can allow you to really shape your piano sound. Now, I want to go to our resident piano lover, expert, shall we say, Mr. Kent Spong, who has Manny beside him there. Hello. Kent, you've had a chance to play with this for a little while. What were your thoughts about this? Your microphone's muted, by the way. Everybody take a drink. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't mute it.
Take a drink, yeah.
So I didn't know it was muted. It spoke to my inner film score, essentially. Yeah, it hit the marks. It's nice. I'm not quite sure about individual string resonance.
It was just a quote I picked off the internet. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere myself either. But
well, it's just one of those things that, do you know what else doesn't have that? Is a piano. Just a thought.
But it's true.
I think people were probably talking about sympathetic string resonance.
Yeah.
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 But you can change mic. You can change mic position on it.
You can change mic positions.
Oh, yeah, you can do everything else with it. Yeah, all the usual stuff. Yeah.
It's got. Let me just bring this up onto the screen here. So, I did plan to have this running, but if I run too much on this machine, it does start to wheeze a little bit. So, come on, here we go. So, this is the mix page. So you can mix the balance between all the mics. There's a graphic EQ. There's compression. There's you can change the spaces, send and inserts, and all of that kind of stuff. Then there's also you've got your space page where it allows you to choose the space, and then within each space there's about 4 different settings that you can use to add elements to it. There's the main master page where you can adjust things like pedal noise and hammer noise, and the resonance of the harp as well, lid positions, and so on and so forth. It is, I think it's a really lovely thing. And then there you go, you got an effects section, which I must say, somebody IK Multimedia has been looking at Arturia's front end design, and it's worked. It looks very nice. It's very really simple and straightforward, but it is very powerful.
It's definitely nice to see them putting more effort into their UI, because for a while they were looking pretty dated, but it looks like, just inspiration-wise, when you see a good UI, it definitely looks a lot better.
You know what's missing, though?
Go on.
There's no coffee cup ring
no stain on the woodwork,
or a fag burn on one of the ivory keys.
Do you know if I'm ever in a studio with you and you come near a grand piano with a coffee cup or a fag,
I'm bringing a flame
for our American friends. That means a cigarette. By the way,
that means cigarette in English. We need to petition them then to run off an ARM Linux variant so that we can put it inside Caladan, right?
Well, there you go. There you go. So it's worth pointing out. So just to talk about a little bit about the price of this thing. So currently, the introductory price is $99.99 per piano. So what happens is when you get into Pianoverse, you'll buy one, you get the platform, you get the shell, and then you'll get your piano at $99.99 or $129.99 once the introductory offer is over. However, you can also subscribe, so you have the option. There's, again, IK have done a really good thing here, perpetual or a subscription offer. So I think it's $14.99 a month, and you get access to all the pianos, or $149 a year, so that gives you a little bit more of a discount and an incentive to do that. Now, at the moment, there are 4 pianos available. There are 2 Yamahas, a Yamaha Grand and a Yamaha Upright. There is also what they call a New York Concert Grand, which I think might be a Steinway D of some description, or one of the Steinway Ds. They're also bringing Bosendorfers into it at some point. Another Steinway, I believe. Ones. There's 8. I can't remember. I should have, if I knew what I was doing, I'd have the list right here in front of me. But there's going to be 8 different pianos planned at the moment. That's what they're working on. 4 of them are available today from launch, or yesterday from launch. So yeah, there you go. That's Pianoverse from IK Multimedia. Maybe we'll go into that a little bit more detail maybe next week, because I've really enjoyed using this. I'm not a pianist in any shape or form, but these do sound rather nice.
It went really well with the CS80.
Yeah,
it went really well with that.
Yeah, I bet. So yeah, Pianoverse from IK Multimedia is available today from ikmultimedia.com/Pianoverse. Let's see, what else have we got that I thought is definitely worth a mention.
I really wanted to talk about the impulse responses
on Pianoverse.
No, the
no. The
it's called like chamber something.
Oh, test chamber. Yes.
Yeah, test chamber.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, let me line that up and let me play the promo video. So this one has come in from one of our regulars, Graham, who goes under the name of Edna's Disco Machine in chat. Graham is going to be part of this event, which I believe is taking place tomorrow at a place in the UK called Farnborough, where there is a wind tunnel. And well, I'll let the video explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this stuff. I love impulse responses. Rob, I think your mic is acting up.
Okay.
Oh no, it's good now.
You don't know.
Okay, cool.
I thought that was you talking, but I think that was maybe Kent in the background or somebody's. Somebody was talking in the background.
Yeah, so this is really cool. I think Adrian Utley from Portishead is part of this as well. So this is not just because this is the Modular Cafe Aldershot, which are basically a local synthesizer group down there near Farnborough, and yeah, they've been mucking around in this, and yeah, there are, as Ken has pointed out, impulse responses from there. Do you want to sort of talk about those?
I'm in the process right now. I'm going to show you something. I don't know if you guys are aware of these things. This is the Poly Bebo, and they make a Eurorack module. I believe it's called the Hector as well. But it's a guitar pedal that I had a battery around here somewhere that I usually plug it in. Oh, here it is. What's really cool about this thing is that it allows you to run pretty long impulse responses. Most of the mutable instrument stuff on it, all that kind of stuff. But the point is that it lets you run longer impulse responses than just about any pedal that I've seen. And I love impulse responses. Impulse response reverb is just super fun, especially when you have extra parameter control, like if you can reverse the impulse response and do other stuff like that. But one of the first like commercial sample packs that I ever did was like based around just going into a really large industrial space and recording sounds, and I've always loved kind of just grabbing things and taking them into a space and recording synthesizers like that. And that's exactly what this is. I did 20 years in HVAC, so like I'm used to being in big tunnels like that and wind areas and that sort of thing, and seeing this kind of stuff. The sounds that you hear in those sorts of spaces are so ethereal and strange that as soon as I saw this, I was like freaking out. I love this kind of stuff. And the fact that if you the picture that's up on the screen right now is you can click on those dots and it will show you the impulse responses that are recorded there, so you have an idea of the space that you're actually where the source is and the space that it was recorded in, and you can get all kinds of variations of that sort of thing. So it's really looking like a pretty wonderful resource.
Yeah. Well, you can download all of the archive. It's about 460 megabytes, which is not a lot these days at all, and it's all there free of charge.
Yeah. I'm in the process of adding these to a flash drive that I'm going to put onto my Bebo right now, and it's going to work best in DAWs and whatnot. Of course, because they have more power. The Bebo, I want to say it's maybe roughly 6 seconds is the longest that you can get, which is pretty long for impulse response on a pedal. But one of the ones that I really like is in Guitar Rig. They have a impulse response that you can use in there that gives you lots of different control. So these are going to be perfect for that kind of stuff, where you can get these really long reverb impulse responses and mangle your sounds with it. I don't know. I absolutely love these kinds of projects.
Yeah. They've also, I was watching the video earlier, they were also talking about that there's some slats, some curved louvers at different points in the chamber, lots of them, which you can just about squeeze by, but they're very tall. And they were doing some. I think Adrian was hitting them with a felted mallet, and the sounds that are coming off of some of that stuff is just spookily gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to be downloading all the ambisonic stuff. Ambisonic impulses.
Some really cool stuff. If you want to go along, so the tickets are available online, and they've got 3 sessions tomorrow. Each session lasts around 2 to 3 hours. So session 1 is at 11 a.m., then another one at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the final one at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. And then on Sunday, one at 11, one at 1, one at 4, and one at 7:30. And the durations, there is a shorter duration one on the Sunday. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty spectacular thing, and you'll get to see people like Adrian Utley, and of course our very own Graham, who's Edna's Disco Machine in the chat. I don't know if he's there tonight or whether he's prepping for this. You'll get to see them play in that space, which has got to be amazing.
It's going to be very, very good.
So nice one there. Well done. Right, okay, let's swiftly move on. I just want to see if I can pull in a couple more, and if any of you lot here on the screen right now have anything to say, do just chip in. Don't be scared.
Caladan, quick.
Go, yes. And don't forget to use the promotional code ProSynth, which will get you a nice little discount as well. Right, let's see. Roland did something this week. They did a couple of things this week. One was pretty inconsequential, and that was they've updated the Juno 60 and the Roland Cloud to V2, so you get nicer graphics. And Ben, I bet you're pleased with the patch browser in that thing after you've bitched consistently about that one. But it is really nice. Yeah. But that was just a minor thing that they did. The big news is that they brought out a new hardware synth. And it's this little thing here. Let's see if we've got. I do believe I have lined up a video all about this, and it's here. There, because again we're short of time. Gaia 2, which looks like a big improvement on Gaia 1, or Gaia as it was just known. Anybody else think that Roland have been to the Korg school of synthesizer design?
They've just totally forgot the.
It's like they were peeking over the shoulder.
Design language of the last 40 or 50 years, and binned everything off.
Yep.
And just said, let's look at the monologue. And the Alesis Ion, and it's just not a Roland.
Yeah,
synth.
but
I think what's
nice,
really interesting now that you mention the competitor there, Korg, is their announcement this week, which is just at the price.
We'll see if we can pop that in. But yeah, Gaia 2, wavetable, virtual analog. It's got that lovely motional pad.
It's lovely. As a synth, it's lovely, but it just isn't Roland, is it?
And it's about 800 quid, which is not bad, considering. I mean, it does a lot. And I was never a massive fan of the first one, and this will probably pass me by. It's not really my thing, but a lot of people are getting very excited about this.
Yeah, but you can get a Caladan for that, or slightly more.
Almost, yes. Absolutely.
Does it come with the £2 bag of sugar?
Yes, you can do your own little sound waves.
Oh, great, cool.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's Gaia 2. Again, we're not going to dwell on that too long because we are almost out of time. But yeah, I think Andrew mentioned something that
the Korg.
Yeah, so this was a leak that I found on. There's a shop in New York. I think it's called B&H or B&P. I can't remember. But they do all sorts of electrical. B&H, yeah, and they accidentally leaked the fact that Korg are doing some new controllers called the KeyStage. Let me just bring this up on screen because, as you would imagine, the website has now removed all reference to it. But we've now got the Korg, hopefully coming soon, the Korg KeyStage MIDI 2.0 controllers with polyphonic aftertouch, no less. And I know that a certain person in the room will keep his mouth completely shut about this, but you have to have been blind to not notice that in the top right-hand corner there is a certain brand called Polytouch, which I think we've all seen on a certain black and orange synthesizer that's been disrupting the whole industry for the last few years. So it looks like this was what Glenn was referring to on show 90-something that we did when he spoke about another company possibly licensing the technology. Well, I think we found out who that might be. But the interesting thing here is this is MIDI 2.0, and it has this, is it parameter exchange or something?
Yep.
What do they call? Yeah, so basically the instrument on your computer talks to the controller as well as the controller talking to the instrument. So as soon as you bring focus onto that plugin, for example, and it supports this exchange, all of your displays at the top there will be automatically mapped along with the controllers above them to the features within the synth. So it's, in a way, it's kind of like Korg's answer to, well, not Korg's answer, but it's MIDI 2.0's answer to what Native Instruments do with the NKS format. So you get this kind of dedicated, in inverted commas, controller sort of thing. But of course, it's got poly aftertouch. So here we are. How many years have we been waiting for the synthesizer manufacturing world to wake up to the joys of polyphonic aftertouch? And we've only got ASM.
The 61 note version is 699. They claim.
Yeah,
that's a really good price for
and
a controller.
$599 for the 49 key. Yeah,
you could use that to control. Let's just think. The Caladan.
It's not that far off.
Because the Caladan supports poly aftertouch, doesn't it?
It's not that far off the price of the Native Instruments new
it's
release.
Quite a way off.
It's not.
It's quite cheaper.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought it was $699 for the 49 key.
No, I don't.
Yeah, the 49 key for this is $599. The 61 key for this is $61.
Yeah, but you're getting a much nicer instrument. That looks pretty boring to me.
You like big flashy screens, don't you?
Yeah, that does look boring.
And it hasn't got a deep...
If you're going to go out and spend 700 quid, do you want to walk home with that?
Yeah, really? I do, actually.
Yeah.
Do you?
Actually,
yeah. I'd rather that
really?
than the Native Instruments one, for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Last week I was all
I just
for
think
buying
that
the
looks
Native...
a bit like non-inspirational and just.
It does.
Just a bit
I'll tell you
flat.
what seems odd though is that Korg only a couple of months or so ago brought out these so-called flagship synths, the SE versions of the Wave State and the Op6.
Yeah.
And none of them had polyphonic aftertouch on them. They were pretty lackluster. They were basically just dump the engine in a big case and charge 3 times as much. They've redeemed themselves slightly with this, in my book, I think. A little bit there.
Yeah. It's a great idea with the polyphonic aftertouch and that, but it just looks a little bit. Yeah. Come on.
Well, we just have to
I've just
wait and
spent
see
700 quid on a new controller keyboard. I'm gonna throw it into the centre of my studio, and it is that.
No, you see, I'd take that out live. That's the thing. I would take that out live.
That's very true.
Like
they are
Caladan
quite light.
If for live, that for me is just I'd love to have that at the centre of a live rig.
I'll tell you what would sell me.
I won't waste my money on that. Tell you.
No. What would sell me on that, and would make me consider putting the KX88 into semi-retirement, is an 88-note controller version of that.
Nice try.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
you couldn't even put another synth on the back of that. There's no space.
That's what stands are for.
That's the point. That's kind of the point, though. Like, for me, and I'm not specifically talking about that. I'm just saying, as far as MIDI controllers are concerned, like, I personally like them to be a little bit more shallow as opposed to taking up a whole ton of space.
And I like them to connect direct to hardware, right?
What was the one that I had before? I had an Arturia one that was like, it was fairly shallow like that, and it allowed me to put it in spaces that my other synths I couldn't put. So for me, I personally like that kind of thing. I also like the idea of, just like for performance of other things, like the idea of having things of built-in audio interfaces and that sort of thing, and just small, easy to travel with, compact things like that.
That's the thing. That's the thing I didn't mention, everyone, is that the KeyStage has a built-in audio interface.
It'd make a great Electromantics live keyboard because
there you go.
I run main stage through the keyboard, the audio interface goes through the desk.
Anyway, I think we're going to knock the news on the head there. Anything we didn't cover this week. So we were going to mention things like the new SM7DB mic, which is one of these that doesn't need a cloud lifter anymore. So that was nice. Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
What's a cloud lifter?
What's a cloud lifter? Really? I don't know if I can bring it
Warm air.
A fart.
It's what they call a mic activator. Basically, if you've got a dynamic mic,
I'm literally using something like that right now.
Yeah.
Think of it like a DI box for dynamic mics.
Yeah, it's a DI box.
Can we talk about the Behringer CS? Because I haven't had a sexually explicit swear session for ages.
I'd rather not.
I don't want to be involved on the same podcast.
No.
Not as you, Ken. I mean
as
the B word.
Yeah.
Do you know they? It was too late, but they opened up a research facility in Bangalore, I think it was, in India or Pakistan, and the news of that broke, and I was sat here talking to Rob. I was like, oh, look, they've opened up a research facility over there. And he said, in Bangalore. He said, we just sent an S2400 to Bangalore. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, hang on, let me look it up. Oh, yeah, we just sent a unit to Music Tribe, such and such, Bangalore. I was like, for fuck's sake. I was cancelled the shipment quick. So you can probably expect to see a shitty knockoff of my homage to E-MU soon.
Oh, I'll wait for that one then.
Yeah.
That's what they always say, isn't it? They go, I'll wait for the Behringer one. Yeah, good luck, mate.
Yeah.
Indeed, you'll be waiting a very long time. So, yeah, we were going to talk about Door Project as well, which I think is a really interesting thing, but that can wait till next week, because if you don't know what Door Project is, it's this kind of open source inter-platform file system. So, you know, if you've got a project on Bitwig at the moment, you can then swap that with PreSonus Studio One and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
That's a very clever idea. So we'll talk about that maybe next week.
That looks very
console,
cool.
Yeah, Console 1, Channel 3, Channel Mark 3, sorry. That's an interesting one that we can talk about as well. And I'm going to do this one because I have a lot of love for this project, and I think this is something I think that the Isla people will have some time and respect for, and that is that Joe Britt and his Luma One project have just announced that after more project refinement, that their Luma One, which is their kind of, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Really
this thing is essentially Lin LM1 clone with more going on for it. You know, let's say it kind of does to the LM1 what you guys did to the S2400.
You
in my
can
opinion.
tell that that's such a labour of love as well. Just look at it, you know.
Well, so Joe, I know Joe. I've known Joe for a long while because he does. He's got Fairlights, and he does some really useful bits of kit that bring Fairlights into the 21st century. And I remember him contacting me about this about a year, 18 months or so ago, and he said, I've got this idea. I've got an LM1 that I managed to get off some guy, and I want to bring it back to life, but it means that I'm going to have to develop new components to do that because they're just not available. And it's developed into this thing. So basically, they've tested it on the latest hardware revision, got manufacturers' quotes in for enclosures and PCBs, and they've now. This was initially going to be $4,995 or $4,999. They've knocked $500 off the price. So that's good news. Sure, it's still an expensive thing, but it's a brilliant, beautiful thing. But it's now going to be $500 cheaper, which has got to be good. So good luck with it. If you want to follow that, there's no kind of official website at the moment, but if you go to Luma1_drum_machine on Instagram, and you can follow that on there. And also Andre, who does a lot of Fairlight stuff out in California, he's been helping out on that project as well as a couple of other people too. So really interesting, and best of luck to them. And I've already been speaking to Joe, so maybe we can get him on the show once he's got one of these babies up and running. That would be cool. Yeah. We're going to draw a line under there. Mickey, however, did post in our little private chat, and this is, I don't know, it's got to be worth mentioning because, especially with people like Ken on here, big hip hop guys, this is amazing news that's just coming out of Las Vegas today. That not only did they arrest someone in connection, he's been charged with the murder of Tupac. So this is crazy. I mean, this is how many years ago? It's just mental. They've charged somebody with the murder of Tupac Shakur. So well done to law enforcement. It took a while, but hey, interesting stuff. And on that bombshell, we shall say goodbye to everyone. So first of all, let's go to Brad over there in Florida. Thank you, mate. Honestly, it's been an absolute...
Thank you as well. This has been really, really awesome. I was shaking and a big bag of nerves before we started, and it's been a super awesome little hangout.
Really appreciate it. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate the fact that your presence, you and your team's presence on here, has given us, I can say this unequivocally and without any worry about being incorrect, you have brought in our biggest live audience ever on this channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
And not by any short measure either. So thank you to you, and thank you to everyone else.
Every week then now, yeah?
Yeah, just make this the Isla
week.
Instruments channel. Seriously, mate. It's been fantastic. Thank you ever so much. and you're welcome back anytime. To Mickey, it's just been an absolute pleasure to meet you. I can't wait to hear your analog drum sounds on the Caladan. I'm really looking forward to that. Now that I know what you've been involved in the past, I'm very excited about that. So brilliant to have you along. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
To the man that says no, he should be forever known as the man that says no. Vlad.
That's me. That's me.
I'm a fan of your work from a distance because I don't have Brad. I don't have an S2400 yet.
Let me just say one thing real quick about Vlad.
Go on then.
As much as he says no, he tells me no, and then 2 days later, he's done it.
He's done it. Gotta love people like that. But no, seriously, I know people have got the S2400 and they say a lot of great things about it. I know that you're very responsible for a lot of that. So congratulations and thank you. And we hope to see more of your work in the Caladan. No, thank you. It's brilliant and great to see that that ARP 26. Well, it's not an ARP 2600, but the remind me what it is again. It's gone out of my head.
It's the TTSH.
TTSH. I knew it got T.
The 70% size, the small size replica.
That's right. Yeah, lovely thing to see in the background.
And on the other side, over here,
what is
because
that?
you didn't get me to plug my own stuff. So this is basically VPME.de. This is a modular, is a Eurorack modular brand that is basically my main job. So I make Eurorack modules in the morning, and then when Brad wakes up, I do some stuff for him.
That Euclidean
awesome
circles that Vlad makes
tell
there
him
with those three rings. Yeah, I think I see
you're
that
the guy behind the Euclidean circles.
Everybody's modular rig seems to have one of those Euclidean circles in it.
See, I have to apologise. I'm really not into Eurorack at all, so I'm very backwards when it comes to knowing what these things are. But I know the name Euclidean circles, and well, there we go. We've just met the man responsible for it.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Maybe we'll get you on your own one, and we can talk about that stuff. That'll be cool. Excellent stuff.
I say no to myself as well. So
anyone with three rings is worth having on.
Yeah, absolutely. Ken, what can I say, mate? It's always an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Thank
Hair's
you.
on point as well, Ken.
Yeah, the hair, man.
That's my wife's doing. She demanded that I grow it back out.
Where's my t-shirt? Where's my Hypersynth?
Yeah, we got to work that out. We're seriously trying to figure out how to properly be able to sell t-shirts and things overseas like that.
Sell?
Yeah, well, no, I just mean in general. We get a lot of conversation about being able to sell overseas for things, and we haven't been able to do that. We have an ASM store now where people can purchase shirts and whatnot, but it's only for the US at the moment.
Get the shirts made in the country they're being purchased.
That's something that we've looked into and what the logistics are surrounding all of that.
And you could do a special discount by quoting the code Thurrock Services. What do you think?
Basildon Police Station.
That's it. Cell 3, it's got Brad's phone number on it. Ken, as I said, always welcome. Great to have you here. Thank you ever so much for joining. And thanks, Brad, for asking him. He's always good
to
value
finally
for money.
meet Andrew, Ben, and Kent as well virtually. I know we chat sometimes, Kent, on Facebook, but
yeah, you say that now.
Well, let's go up there to Epsom in Surrey because, of course, Kent has had Dr. Manny Fernandez by his side all day.
It's been fun. First of all, you guys are doing a great job. Caladan pre-ordered.
Oh wow, thank you.
Well done.
That's another
Thank
one.
you for the extra ProSynth discount.
So get this guy to do your FM programs to get him to do some of that.
Definitely.
And other stuff as well. Yeah, he knows what he's doing apparently. So yeah.
Wow.
Manny, I hope that your first few hours in the UK haven't been too traumatic.
Once we got out of London.
Yeah, that's generally how it works. Yeah, get out of London. It's all cool outside.
Yeah.
Good
great
stuff.
Hospitality here.
Yeah.
My second beer.
Especially from Nelly.
Yeah.
Nelly, have I got competition?
Maybe.
Oh. What about Noah?
My wife. Sorry, your displays.
Oh, that's fighting talk.
Rob,
anyway,
Ken,
Yes.
You haven't got any competition, mate, because you can't lick your own nuts to be entirely fair.
I used to be able to.
You don't know that, though, do you, Andrew?
I've seen the length of his tongue, so actually...
Well,
I went to Berlin with him. I went to Berlin with him. I dispute this.
I never licked your nuts. I never licked your nuts.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's like 5 or 6 loose nuts right here on the counter.
Yeah, I must do something about those.
They're not
They
his,
should
though.
have gone back into the mini mode that you've just finished.
Yeah.
So great to see you, Manny, and looking forward to catching up next week. See you in Sheffield. You coming down Friday or Saturday?
I'll be up Friday mid-afternoon.
Friday, that's it. Yeah. So we'll go out for a meal, won't we, as well? So that's cool.
I'll be
does that
arriving
mean-
after hanging with Ben in Liverpool the day before.
Yes, I'm going out
Oh, yeah,
with
of course you're going
Manny
there
for the
first.
meal as well.
Yep.
Taking him out round the old pool, like.
Pool.
Does that mean that Kent and I are going to ruin the show next week?
Well, that's what I'm going to say is that, next week I won't be here, and it'll just be down to you guys.
And
I'll be talking about the Behringer CS for 2 hours.
Wow.
I'll leave Kent my
don't do
blood
that.
pressure medication.
I'll have a bleep button. I'll have a bleep button.
And Kent, always good to see you, mate.
Thank you all.
Will you be doing any of your shows this weekend?
I'm doing.
Or is there rugby on?
No, I'm doing one with
Oh, yes, we're doing that
Jake
tomorrow, aren't we?
3D. Yes.
Yeah, we're doing synth. Synthesizers in films is the topic, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. I've got a list.
Oh,
I
have
was
you?
doing my homework. I've done my homework. Yeah.
Homework. Knock it in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and thanks for binning off the signature synthesizers topic, which I did the most work on.
I'm sorry. We'll do that next week. It won't be wasted. We'll do that next week. That's one that can wait.
We'll do that next week when
Yeah.
you're not here.
Yeah.
My daughter,
I'll be out kicking
Isla, my daughter Isla's one of her favourite films. Hi Isla, if you're still watching, is the Chipmunks.
Hi, Isla.
And in the Chipmunks movie, he gets pissed off with his musical career and launches a Roland D50 that looks to be in mint condition out onto the driveway.
Oh no!
And I'm like shouting at the screen, like, "What's that? Like, it's a Roland D50."
Dear, at least it wasn't DX7.
It was CG. CGI, don't worry about it.
Somebody sent me a video
I've seen
today.
that happen to a D10 for real. Yeah,
That's
that's
what it
worth-
takes to get that scene right as well. All
Yeah.
those D50s off the market.
Yeah. Well, at least you give it to Trent Reznor. I saw a Mentos advert today from back in the day that had some guy sneaking into a gig with a DX7 on his shoulder. It was so 80s. It was just amazing. Right, who we said goodbye to?
Done with now, then, isn't it?
Andrew, always a pleasure to see you, sir, and the Penguin of Death.
Penguin of Death. Approved.
Oh,
He
he's dead.
approves. He
Penguin
approves.
He
He
approves.
approves of all the things we've talked about today, and particularly about the Caladan.
There you
He's
go.
thinking of ordering it.
Yeah, well, don't forget,
Really?
do it before Brad gets up in the morning.
Yeah.
With
With Thurrock
discount.
services.
Yeah, that's it. And thanks for the T-shirts, by the way. Got those all arrived safely, so that's good stuff. So thank you very much indeed. Who haven't we said goodbye to? Oh, it's only him.
Oh, yeah.
Are you gigging tomorrow?
I am gigging tomorrow.
Where are
I'm
you gigging? Where can people come and see you?
in Middlewich, I think. I don't know what the name of the venue is.
That's somewhere
I
in the
thought
northwest.
Oasis had split up.
I don't really give a shit. But it's been lovely tonight. It's been so nice to get an insight into. Is it Isla Instruments?
Yeah.
Isla
Yeah.
Instruments. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been so nice, and the Caladan seems like such a. It's got so huge potential. I'm really excited by it. But for the first time in ages, that I think
Well,
I could have one of them.
Yeah.
And I can make it uniquely mine as well.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
usually used to hearing you say, "Well, I don't really know what I do with that, mate. I'm not really
No,
interested."
I'm serious. I'm proper excited by this. Yeah,
There you
I
go.
like
Well,
it, I
use
like
that
it, yeah.
code and get your discount before tomorrow.
I'm going to be
There
on
you
there.
go. Do
Yeah.
it. Fantastic. So, as I said, I will not be here next week because I'll be in Sheffield, although I will try and dial in. And I got a little bit emotional this afternoon because I thought, what am I going to do? I'll dial in. And then I remembered who I dialed in with last year Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was me and Dom.
Yeah. Such a loss.
And it was just just like, oh man, that's going to be a bit. Ugh. But nevertheless, we shall honour his life, I'm sure, next week in Sheffield. Of course, that's at Synthfest UK. So if you want to come and say hi to myself, to Manny, and there's a whole bunch of you guys. We've actually got a PSN dinner, a meet-up dinner on the Saturday night, which has been fully booked now. So there's over 20 people, I believe. And big thank you to Andrew Brooks for sorting all of that out and doing the whole deposit thing. That was fantastic. So big round of applause there for Andrew.
Yay!
Well done, good work. And so if you're coming to the PSN dinner after Synthfest, or even not, if you just want to buy us a beer or just come and say hi, I'm always, see, this is how I get free nights out. See, people come and buy me beers. So yeah, there we go. That's at the end of another show. Thanks to everyone again for hanging around. We've gone way over time. Thank you to everyone that's watched, including everyone that is new to the show, that came along just because of Isla Instruments. We absolutely love you for it. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. Make sure you come back week in, week out. We're here every Friday, same time, same place. With just loads of this kind of stuff. We get lots of guests on. We've got people coming onto the show over the next few weeks before we go into Christmas. Some very, very interesting people, including... No, I'm going to save the names. You can come back and watch. Subscribe.
As opposed
you
to
get
this
told.
lot.
As opposed to this rabble that we've assembled. No, seriously, thank you.
Where'd
Mickey,
you find them, anyway?
Vlad, Brad, Ken... Thank you. You've made this show absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Well done.
So, well done.
Really
Stuff.
And say we'll be back same time, same place next week, or that lot will, and we'll be in Sheffield, and have a fantastic week. And if we're going to see you at Synthfest, look forward to it. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you tell me who you are as well, because I have lots of people come up and say, hi Rob, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, because I don't see your faces.
Because his memory's gone.
Yeah, I'll put a badge on.
Poor old
this
guy.
is so and so. So do that. But yeah, anyway.
Thanks to Steve Smith for his $50 as ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know. Thank you for reminding me. So let me just. I've got to say thank you, Steve in Australia. Thank you as usual for your $50 Australian. What's the exchange rate? Is it now 120 something? I think.
No, it's £1. That's equivalent to £1.17.
Okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. Thank you.
It is.
Mate, what are you doing? You don't have to pay to be on this show. What do you like? Thank
so
you.
you invite
Thank
me
you.
back.
Oh, that's a given. That's an
Every
absolute
week.
given. Yeah. And there's the last one just come in here from Kissing the Machine, £10. Thank you very much. Great show. You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone that's donated during the show and those that donate outside of the show. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your questions. It's just been an absolute mad show. I'm sorry, Mike, that we didn't get you in. I was trying to find an appropriate place to squeeze you in and just even at that bottom row a little bit, but I'm really sorry. We'll get Mike back on the show very soon. Maybe we'll get him on for next week.
Feel free to reach out on Facebook or Instagram or whatever to ask us any questions that they've got.
Yeah, IslaInstruments.com, all the links to the socials are there, so please do that. Don't forget, order your Caladan now before Brad wakes up tomorrow with your ProSynth code, and you'll get a nice little discount.
Dink.
I'm going to go and use the facilities and then maybe have a glass of wine to calm down after this. Thank you ever so much to everyone, and take the greatest of care. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Right.